Good morning, happy Wednesday. I had to restart my video because guess what? It's raining outside and you know what Emmy was doing? Barking. So I had to send her upstairs with my son. We are starting a brand new Mercy Watson book. This is Mercy Watson, Something Wonky This Way Comes. You know by now that the author is Kate DiCamillo and the illustrator is Chris Van Dusen. Chapter 1. Remember, each day I'm going to read how many? 2 chapters, that's right. Here you go. First picture. This book feels a little bit thicker than the other ones. I don't know. I think it probably is. So we'll see. Okay, let's get started. Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson have a pig named Mercy. Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson and Mercy live together in a house. Do you remember? 54 Decawoo Drive, that's right. One Saturday afternoon, Mr. Watson said to Mrs. Watson, "My darling, my dear, there's a movie at the Bijou called When Pigs Fly." "When Pigs Fly?" said Mrs. Watson. "What an inspiring title. Mercy, did you hear?" Mercy did not hear. Mercy did not hear because Mercy was not listening. Oh, I know some people like that. "It says here that the Bijou proudly serves real butter," said Mr. Watson. "Oh my," said Mrs. Watson, "real butter." What do you think Mercy's reaction is? Look at her. Huh. She pricked up her ears. She was listening now. Mercy loves butter. She particularly loved butter on toast, but she would take butter any way she can find it. Look at her there. "Yes," said Mr. Watson. "It says here that the Bijou proudly serves real butter on every bottomless bucket of popcorn." "Bottomless?" said Mrs. Watson. "Bottomless," said Mr. Watson, which means all you can eat. "All you can eat," said Mrs. Watson. "What a delightful concept." Concept means idea. Mercy thought that all you could eat was a very delightful concept. "Let's go to the movies," said Mr. Watson. "Let's," said Mrs. Watson. Said Mercy. Chapter 2. Oh, you see who that is. "Where are you going?" said Baby Lincoln. "We're off to the movies," said Mr. Watson. "Oh," said Baby, "what movie are you going to see?" "It's a movie called When Pigs Fly," said Mrs. Watson. What's going to happen next? "Is it a romance?" said Baby. "Is it a movie about love?" "Well," said Mrs. Watson, "I think it's basically a movie about pigs flying." "Don't be ridiculous," said Eugenia Lincoln. "Pigs don't fly. It's a figure of speech." "What's a figure of speech?" said Mr. Watson. "The movie title," said Eugenia, "is a figure of speech signifying the impossible." "Well," said Mrs. Watson, "we are going to be impossibly late if we don't get going." "Would you care to join us?" said Mr. Watson. "Yes," said Baby Lincoln. "Absolutely not," said Eugenia Lincoln. "Oh, sister," said Baby, "please say yes." "No," said Eugenia, but she got into the Watson's convertible anyway, and look. This is probably the first time that we have not had a picture, at least on one of the pages. "Where are you going?" shouted Stella. "We're off to the movies." There we go, said Mr. Watson. "What kind of movie are you going to see?" said Frank. "It's a romance," said Baby. "It will be inspirational," said Mrs. Watson. "It's a figure of speech," shouted Eugenia. Wonder who's going to be right. "Is it a movie with a happy ending?" said Frank. "Oh, it must end happily," said Mrs. Watson. "Can we come too?" said Stella. "The more the merrier," said Mr. Watson. Look at that. And that is the end of the first 2 chapters of Something Wonky This Way Comes. We'll be reading more tomorrow. So, in yesterday's lesson, you learned about George Washington. You learned how hard it was to get the soldiers across the river. let's just review just a little bit. Why were we fighting Great Britain? Remember, they wanted to tax us. Taxes are extra money when you go and buy something. Like if you have a candy bar and you go up to the counter at the Family Dollar, you say, you go, oh, it's 79 cents. And the girl at the checkout or the boy at the checkout says about 9 cents more than that. Oh my goodness, almost 90 cents. You go, wait a minute, where'd that money come from? Where's that money going? That's a tax. Remember what taxes do? They pay for, well, really important things like schools, police, fire, firefighters, that sort of thing. Road repair, so our roads aren't bumpy. There you go. So we said, you know what, Great Britain, you cannot tax us just because you need money to pay for the war you were in. We have a right to make our own decisions. We want to be independent. Say independent. That's right. We want to make our own decisions. When I say work independently, that means work on your own and do it yourself. Remember? Now remember who the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army? That's right, George Washington, also first president of the United States. Every president is automatically the commander-in-chief of the military, always, okay? Remember the redcoats. Who are the redcoats again? The British soldiers. And remember that it was snowy and cold and terrible and just miserable weather when Washington crossed the Delaware and at Valley Forge when he was there too. Valley Forge is in Pennsylvania. Snowy, cold, nasty. Oh my goodness. Do you think, here's a question, think about this. Do you think Washington was brave? Why or why not? Tell an adult your answer. Okay. The British got help from Germany. That's another country. The colonists asked which country in Europe to help fight us? Oh, the French. The British got help from Germany, and we asked the French. That's another country in Europe. Now, your prediction, here's the title for today, Will This War Never End? Okay, sometimes it feels like stuff's never going to end. Maybe you think winter's never going to end. Actually happens to be a nice day out today, except for the little bit of rain, but yeah, sometimes when we're in a situation we think this will never end, right? Yeah. So think about this. What do you think this war will end? Okay, that's your job. And here's the other part of your job. How will it end? How do you think it's going to end? Okay, here are some vocab words that you need to know. Confident. Say confident. That's right, confident. You are sure of something. Okay, I am confident that I'm going to do well on a test because I studied. Okay, confident. You know that's going to happen. Okay, surrendering. When you surrender, you go, okay, I'm the loser. I get that. I'm done. So here's our example. The army was forced into surrendering when they realized they couldn't win. That's what surrendering means. Wilderness. Say wilderness, right? That's an area of land where not very many people live. There are still some spots in our country where there's lots of wilderness. Not very many people live. Okay, keep those words in mind. We only have 3 of them today. Confident means you're sure of something. Surrendering means you just gotta give up, let the other person win. And wilderness means where few people live. Watch the video. Remember, you've got to watch the video so that you know what's going on. Okay, if you only watch one, then you're not going to get the full lesson. If you just watch, but you have to watch it every single day. Just like we have that domain lesson every single day, you need to be watching those videos every single day. Okay, guess what? That's it for today. Don't forget, Mrs. Frieder loves you very much, and I miss you. Bye.